All right. I just did a mic check. Got to use this heavy machinery. But yeah, I do not want that audio annoyed me. So I don't know what did that. I know you say it's your effect, but I'm sure it's a mix. It could be a mix of things. I don't know. I know if I'm using this mic and not moving around that there's no way that anything bad can happen. But anyways, let's let Esmond. She might want to help. Come on, Esmond. It's you. I'm just texting you. Okay. Um, so yeah, what was really, really important about this chart, obviously, the significance of that Scorpio moon with Pluto, Black Moon Lilith, just the Hades moon. I spoke a lot about the generational kind of curse that needs to be broken through a moon like that, and how you're really exposed at a young age to a lot of times very early, just having to grow up really fast, and it creates lots of resilience. But like with this, these two grand trines that create this Star of David, right? It's so rare. Um, you can see like the only way it's possible is if the two grand trines happen. So you see this one happens from 19 to 12, 17 water. The only way it's possible mathematically is if the other one is um two signs away, so an Earth and around the same degrees. So it's like 25, 18, 25. It's crazy. I've only in all my charts, it's the second one I've seen. So yeah, there's mega talent. But one thing I've noticed sometimes, like with the Grand Shrine, this is like my research, and just with two Grand Shrines, Star of David, it can be it can take a while to uncover exactly what that purpose is. Because it's so specific, right? It's so like the thing about Grand Shrines is that sometimes they're talents that people take for granted, right? So it's like if you have this amazing ability, right? Selling it could be like selling oneself short, but like Moon, Mars, and Chiron, it's just in water. It's someone who's able to take all of the harsh lessons that they've learned and this real depth and spiritual courage and truly assist others with it. Um, and have a lot of spiritual courage to do things that, on an unconscious level, energetic level, like to take risks that are very much needed, right? Because being a full moon baby, like a big theme in your chart is how do you kind of get past the self-limiting beliefs that can come from Mercury square nodes, but then also the past life trauma that can come from Pluto square nodes, right? And it can come from past lives where, yeah, I was saying like, you could have been um like held back in some type of way. And it could be, with the moon also in there, that karma with your existing mother, or just nurturing in general, it's difficult, right? So when you add the Earth Grand Shrine, that gives this kind of stability, and it creates this special chart where the Grand Trine, there's a key opposition in the grand in the Star of David, not Grand Trine, Star of David is the actual sun opposite moon. So it kind of just like it kind of sets you up for, because if you break each down, your Taurus sun is supported by Mars, right? Um, on one side and Chiron on the other. So it's like you have a difficult chart, but then there's all of this potential for healing, you know, and all this potential for action, for movement. So and then you add to that the fact that so your sun's aspects, right? Sextile Mars, sextile Chiron, trine ascendant, trine Saturn. Like those are all beautiful aspects. And the conjunction with Pallas, um, that just adds like a level of intelligence and someone who's a real strategizer who can really like I said, you're like a very outside the box thinker, right? Because Mercury rules your chart and it's a retrograde Mercury. So very like artistic minded, but like because Palace, which is like another kind of energy of another variation of how we think, but it's more of like our strategic mind. Also, some call say it's like linked with the third eye, intuition. Kind of, I think of it like how we kind of maneuver, how we kind of can see the big picture, like chess. It's like our chess brain, right? Just trying to get these wires at the. So, uh, undid my microphone. Let's go there. Let's test again. Test, 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 test. Test from here. I sit up. Test from here. Turn the volume. Volume like this. I don't know what these things mean. Test, test. Oh, it's so much better. But you're probably messing with your volume a lot, but I'm just trying to get the gain. Okay, that's so okay. I think if I stay, no, I think the gain should be a little bit higher. Yeah, it's fine. Anyways, yeah, so everything kind of funnels back into the fact that the sun is, it's opposing the moon. So it's just understanding Taurus Scorpio, and um, the Chiron in Cancer, that's like that feeling misunderstood in the family, but in even 11th house, it could be with friends too. But Jupiter 11th, it just kind of means you have like a massive healing journey. And now that I know that you're in technology, here's my cat Esme, who peed on my bed last night. We have to take her to the vet. Look at the chart, Esme. Tell me what you see. No, she doesn't want to. So, yeah, just having like just this massive creative potential. The Earth part of the Grand Trine, we usually don't use the ascendant in Grand Trines, but in this case, like psychologically, it makes sense with ascendant and the sun, because it's just like, it's just, the Saturn trine ascendant, it will make one more responsible and really able to organize one's life and very capable. And then Sun trine Saturn is so similar. I have Sun sextile Saturn. It's a game changer. And already being a Taurus, I think it just makes this part of you very, very strong and solid. And the balancing game. So then when we talk about this Hades moon, that's the dark side of your personality. Yes, man. And you have your IC on the galactic center. I didn't talk about that yesterday, but like I never really thought about like what could that mean, but it could mean that you could be like a channel for cosmic information, like internally, and able through that water grand shrine to, it's just like with the Pluto on the moon, it's like you have to overcome this trauma. Usually it's from the mother maternal line. It's very witchy though, right? And overcoming it leads to like the energetic body feeling a lot lighter, and then all this good stuff opens up. I think you had Hecate on your midheaven, right? So yeah, so you have like um it says Hecate's name after the Greek goddess of the old moon of midnight and the crossroads. Later demonized as the leader of witches, her energy seems to balance that of the North Node, both in terms of lunar association and in terms of the sheer power Hecate manifests, which has one similarities to that of Rahu. There's magic power here, ultimately derived from deep powers of concentration and manifestation. Hecate relates to the gifts of deep experience and can be a maker of wealth, especially the material kind. The power constellated by Hecate also seems to have a distinctly sexy quality. This asteroid can be an important marker of physical attraction when considering chart synastry. So yeah, um, that being on the midheaven, that can rule over career and over how you're seen publicly. Um, just witch vibes. And yeah, and just like the fact that your sun moon midpoint also like with that north node in Aquarius, in the sixth house, just really, like technology. Now I know you're doing that. Aquarius rules technology. So you could be someone who's really here to do something when it comes to technology and like technology and spirituality, right? Because there's a lot of magic. Zubin al-Shalami on your moon, that is very like good with like herbs and potions and like Hecate and Zubin al-Shalami together. It's just like very, very like pagan. I think you just said that in the chat. Yeah. Man. So, yeah. Um, so yeah, there's just like that Star of David is just very, very like your Mars and Pisces like is the way that's activated with a vertex, like so much fate related to like um that kind of journey inward, and like seventh house is partners, so you could be someone who attracts spiritual partnerships. Um, I talked about like the romantic energy of like Venus and Aries, kind of like how it's like a go-getter, but then if it squares Uranus and Jupiter, there can kind of be like an energy of like nothing is good enough. So it can kind of like, really make one need to have a partner that can kind of keep them stimulated intellectually. Like you can get very bored, I think, of like surface level stuff. And also being that you're such a deep person that probably had to mature so easily and it became so aware of the darker side of their nature and of human nature at a young age, it probably feels like lifetimes ago, a lot of the stuff that happened. So, and then in Placidus, your son's in the eighth house, right? So it's just like all these things come together and just make so much sense of like, you're probably like me where it's like all this stuff, like it makes sense, but you can like it's almost more like it makes sense for like the old you, and you don't give your and like that's what I'm saying about like these two grand trines overlapping. It's like you might not like, and I'm like this too. I'm putting full disclosure, my addiction that I let myself get addicted to. But I only like the citrus ones. But yeah, sometimes it's hard to like pat ourselves on the back, um, to really like stop and think and be like, wow, like what I've done is kind of a miracle, what I like because like the grand trine, like everyone else can see how amazing you are, but it's like, can you see it? Can you and like can you truly see it? Can you truly stop and like because the Virgo rising, it can be like very, very cognitive all the time, and feel into that Scorpio moon, and kind of how far you've come. Because even just texting with you for like a second, I could feel your energy. It's just kind of cheating for me, but still, like, I can tell, that there's a level of humility, and like it just feels like you've like graduated many lives in this life. And that's like a very eighth house kind of energy. And yeah, just like, your fifth house, like, because like that would be in the fourth house, right? In Plastis, like the Uranus and Neptune, and it can kind of create like an inner confusion, and um just understand like just like the need for that spiritual journey, which would have been projected forward by that Jupiter Chiron conjunction, right? Series with Chiron too. Someone who can really heal through emotion. Like they can heal through their intuition, and they have a lot of like, and then I said also like there could be some like athletic gifts because Mars trines Pluto. Even though Mars is in a water sign, and a lot of people like always say like, "Oh, I wish I didn't have Mars in Pisces. I wish I didn't have Mars in Cancer." It's more Mars in Cancer. I said yesterday too, but like still, it's close to an angle, right? So it's stronger, and it has trine Pluto. So like, I think I said yesterday like maybe something like swimming, or you know maybe like it's like an unconventional sport, because like in Holstein, like having Uranus and Neptune the fifth, it would give like very unique and kind of like original hobbies. Um, like I don't know. I know people who like really like electronic music, for example, who have like that fifth house. But yeah, I think that definitely the North Node and Aquarius journey in the sixth house is about stabilizing. So that's like the high energy of Taurus, right? The high low energy of Taurus is being closed-minded, not being willing to accept change, and being stubborn and all that shit, right? The high energy of Taurus is being able to pick yourself back up, being able to be consistent, which is such a gift. I can't do it. And then yeah, with Scorpio, it's about finding that true internal power is within, right? Because like when you have Pluto on your moon, it could be the worst thing ever or the best thing ever. Um, it's like this, like think of Pluto as like this dense ball. I'm gonna text right now just to let you know. Okay. Um, so yeah, I think like think of Pluto as like this dense, like little, it's like a little tiny ball of like endless energy reserve, and it's dark. So it's like you have to like really like dive into dive into your depths, right? But like with the Pluto moon, Scorpio Pluto moon, a Hades moon, like you're just like this, very kind of magical, intense being. Some people with it, they take it the wrong way. But I think it's spiritual destiny because it's so well supported, and it's like you're meant to overcome past life trauma in this lifetime and move towards you know this kind of centered purposeful life, right? Where like health is something like mental, physical, spiritual, every all health, day-to-day stuff, it has like a deep meaning, and like as we enter, they say, the age of Aquarius, this new age where technology is so important, and um you know the the importance of helping others. And I could totally see you being someone who is, finding ways to incorporate compassion with your gifts, right? Um, but yeah, definitely like 12th to 6th is the move away from like Leo to Aquarius is moving away from the me, going towards the we. But it doesn't mean that like you can't be talented, it's not anything like that. Like I told you, we both have the same nodes, right? We were born in the same year. So, and we both also have the South Node square of Pluto. I don't know. I hope it was a part of the video that got picked up. But I was talking about how like that was the most important thing I ever learned about astrology, right? About my own astrology was um that the trauma that I have in this lifetime, it's from past lives, right? Like yeah, there is trauma in this lifetime, but like everything in your chart, it was meant to be like you came in this lifetime saying, I want to replicate, like I want to feel, I want whatever happens in this lifetime to replicate the past life trauma. Um, so I can get past it and evolve. And then when you have this Pluto energy on your moon, and remember, it's all about power. So some people they take that power and they try to dominate others. They try to like because they haven't dealt with it. It's like the need to do the shadow work, and it feels so grueling and never ending. But then it pays off so much later in life. In your past your Saturn returns. So um, there's obviously that need to create boundaries with toxic people. Um, but yeah, just like being able to be there for humanity and being able to look at any kind of self-limiting beliefs, like not selling yourself short, understanding your own value. And I think that the spiritual path, which is so subjective to each individual, is a way where, like I was talking the other day about how there's some people who take a very like they go to church and they're very brainwashed, and they don't actually do things that are like divine, like they're cruel and stuff like that. Just I had recent examples of this pop up in my life, right? And I was thinking about people who aren't necessarily religious, and I have nothing against religion. Just when people don't actually, they kind of use it for as a scapegoat. But yeah, like I think the fact that you have like this earth energy that's all about stability, your rising trends, your sun, your rising trends palace, like I think that as long as that deep water energy is always felt and you understand that like, you know, you get like for example, like following the lunar cycle is very important. Like understanding, where your progressed moon is, right? Um, which I usually don't do this, but I'll take a look. Yeah, it's in Aquarius right now. Esme, you're here, but you don't want to help? Esme Cam. Esme Cam. I hope Esme's okay. She peed on my bed last night. Twice. We can film her a little bit. Esme, you gonna help? Also, sixth house, North Node, sixth house is associated with animals. So they can be like you can have like little Esme cats or animals that help you with intuition. Let's see if she wants to help. Look, Esme, look at the chart. Esme, look at the chart. Is it too bright for you? Oh, it's too bright for her. Here, Esme. Look and tell me. Oh, this is the progress chart. Sorry, Esme. Your progress moon's in Aquarius, so that's like, it's coming up to your North Node. So and she ran away. So a big time for destiny for you, in the next like 10 months, especially. Um, really, really getting in touch with that Aquarius North Node and why you're here. So yeah, it's just interesting. Because I think anyone with a South Node at 12th, a lot of times they feel like in past lives they had to. So in past this it would be 11th to 5th. So There can be this feeling of like feeling like you had to kind of hide your true identity, hide your true spiritual gifts, um, creative gifts in past lives because of some force, right? Um, and you know, when there's trauma, we're not able to really like work on ourselves, and we're not able to really like fulfill our true potential. So in this life, I think that things have kind of like aligned, right? You're born on this like intense full moon. I was talking about like if I was doing the astrology of your full moon, like how I would be like, guys, this is the no bullshit. Like this is like the shadow. Like you, Black Moon Lilith and Pluto are in Scorpio full moon. Like this shit is intense. Juno's there, so there's like this big soulmate energy too, with Juno and Pluto together. Like, it could be relationships that are very, very like intense, but that teach you a lot. Um, and really about sovereignty, right? But you could like find kind of your own trauma can kind of be like brought out through relationships. But like a lot of like this usually happens early in life because it's like the person is not meant to suffer, 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 suffer. It's like, let's get this shit over with. But then it's important also the fifth house Saturn to always remember, to not take things too seriously, right? Um, like because it can kind of make it hard, fifth house Saturn, to like have fun and just let go and just be and just enjoy. So, um, yeah, really, really taking the time. Because if we do like Placidus like 11th to 5th, then with the nodes, we're dealing with a very different energy where, you know, maybe someone, a karma where you were too engulfed by kind of the consensus of the times and friends and other influences around you. And it pushed you away from being able to truly go within yourself creatively. And in this life, it's really, really about, finding that true, authentic self expression, like what you really want to do with your time and energy. And, you know, that true Plutonian power, you can always lean on it and have this character strength where you're like, I know my boundaries with people. I know my boundaries energetically, I know who to trust and who not to trust. Cause like the Scorpio moon, this Hades moon has this like built-in like sensor, knowing bullshit, knowing who's real, knowing who's fake. But yeah, just with the Star of David, I think that Scorpio and Taurus balance, like it's just like it's so well supported, and it also pushes you, right? Because it's like if you have a Star of David or two grand trines, like people with that can be so talented but not push themselves or not see it. Everyone else sees it, but when you have this opposition, that gives you this real chip on your shoulder because usually father and mother were very different. A lot of times there's the divorce, and if it's not a divorce, a lot of times it's just like feeling like the message from parent A and parent B were so different, and you're here to like really blaze your own path. And sometimes people with charts like this, I see they have to create boundaries with people they love or people that that raise them, stuff like that. um but it does give you this like this need to kind of like create your own authentic identity, right? Which is really what Aquarius is about. It's about not identifying with the group but identifying with the self, with that individual self. So that's like another part of the Aquarius journey is like, how can I not give a fuck? How can I like really, really be one with myself, one with, you know, like asking the questions that matter to me, not taking like, yeah, listening to other people is great. You have your moon, your moon and sun are in whole sign of 3 and 9. So it's like, you know, all about learning and all about taking like the base information and understand that in past lives, it could have been the case that not, but that by following the group, by following the group think and the kind of consensus reality, it got you into some trouble. And perhaps in this lifetime, you're seeing, okay, well, I need to kind of pivot and do things a little bit differently. You know, I need to go in my own lane. Um, I don't need to listen to this person, that person. Um, blaze my own path. And the more confidence that's built on that, you know, you have like the eighth house being lit up in whole sign with Venus. So that's like someone who understands and conscious. And of course, like I was saying yesterday, like you know, it the Venus where it is, it's very good for being able to kind of see the beauty in a partner. Um, but then the square to Uranus, it kind of, yeah, it's a little bit tough for the stability. In that sense, like kind of like commitment can be really tough, I think. But like Taurus are very good with commitment usually. But a lot of times Venus square Uranus, they can see anyone's claim to them like as like kind of an imprisonment. And I totally feel you, you know. I like that idea of like not wanting to commit to something because you don't know who you're gonna be. You know, that moon in Scorpio, it's like really about understanding the shifting moods, you know, that can go very extreme back and forth. And um yeah, just it's really about learning compromise, and really seeing like the how a partner can really contribute to your life and bring value. Because like with the Venus square Uranus, there can be this like grass is green on the other side type vibe. Um, so yeah, and in the end, like, you know, everything is about higher learning and how you like are able to really investigate and find the data of, I guess, what you could call like the lower reality, like the you know, going out in the world and finding what matters to you and so forth, and finding your truth and then tying it to grander philosophies that guide your life. Because our dharma, what we do, big picture, always relates to um it always relates to kind of like our view of like what's important to reality. If I thought that only money is important, I wouldn't be doing astrology, you know? Um, so I think like that Grand Trine of Water, it and you know, like it just gives you such amazing healing ability for self. And when you've done that healing work for yourself, it's just really important to acknowledge the work you've done because you're really able to contribute a lot. And like if you didn't have this Grand Trine Earth, the Grand Trine Earth, it just the fact that Saturn is aspecting ascendant and sun positively, the planet of karma, you know, like because it is retrograde, so like that's like, you know, this life kind of being like a repeat in some type of way, like because there could have been like a tragic ending to the last life with the Pluto square where you weren't able to like fully complete your mission. But yeah, even having your part of fortune, you know, 26 Pisces on the descendant, that's going to, you know, usually be very, very good indicator for having a lot of joy in relationships. Even if they are testy and there is kind of like a big learning curve and figuring out what, you know, it's really like lots of like the start and then like a balancing, you know, like figuring out exactly that formula that works for you. And then from that, you know, okay, this is the type of person that works for me. This is the type of job that works for me. This is the type of environment that works for me. But really, I think with all these talents, it's about like not allowing people to take advantage of you also. And I think being a Scorpio moon definitely helps that. Um, you know, because sometimes Mars and Pisces can be a little bit wishy-washy in the sense that like lacking, it can, you know, like I said, like yesterday, like only having, you know, having the fire south node and just fire Venus, it's not that much firepower, but the fact that Venus is um, you know, it's in Aries. It's still like one has to kind of like go out and find their inner dynamic, find like what really gets them, really like the burning passions, the things that really get them going, So yeah. And yeah, even having just Pluto aspecting three of your personal planets, um it's such a big part of your chart. And um it's like it's 2 degrees from exact with Mars. So I just feel like when you put your mind to something, you have to understand that like you have this like endless resources that not everyone has, very few people have, to be able to just say, okay, I'm going to do this, and boom, allowing that Saturnian energy to flow through you to help you organize everything, to help you, you know, like, because like the 12th house south node, like energy, it can be a little bit like unfulfilled creative dreams. Taking my chew out. And it can also be like someone who had to kind of work in the shadows, right? And kind of have like their head over their shoulder before. So now you're able to really um and even midheaven in Gemini, right? A lot of people with midheaven in Gemini can have two careers. They can have like the thing that pays the bills and the thing that's like the true passion, right? And over time it grows because um midheaven, it's not trining the north node, but it is, they're in the same, it's trining by element. So I think anything that kind of like you're probably someone who like really intellectually like needs to be stimulated, and likes to be challenged. And like the Mercury retrograde, it's very, very abstract minded, and it's very much about, in the ninth, whether it's ninth or eighth, depending on, the system you use, like it wants to know deep secrets of the world. It wants to get, behind things, but it also wants to unlock the higher truths. And sometimes people who have um this retrograde Mercury natally, like they feel more clear during periods of Mercury retrograde, so it's actually like a good time to undertake things. Okay, now you want to help little Esmond? Such a little clingy Cancer girl. You gonna help? Talking to the mic, Esmond. Esmond, say something. Esmond, 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 look. Esmond, look, the mic. Esmond, you wanna help? Okay, let's try this one more time, Esmond. Okay, do your thing, do your magic thing where you look at the chart and you tell me what's important. She stared at the ascendant. Interesting, because I didn't really talk about that much yesterday. I think just with Virgo rising people, like there's just that importance in, I kind of said that yesterday too, like of not taking things too seriously. Um, and like perfectionism can be ultra high. Now you're too heavy, Esme. You need to work out, dude. Do that. You need to go, yeah, because you pee on my bed, so you got all the sympathy points, didn't you? And you got wet food. But yeah, there's like an importance to like kind of not take things overly serious and to have, things that you do for fun, because sometimes like Virgo rising people can be overly critical of themselves and then overly critical of others. Um, but yeah, it does have nice trines of Sun and Saturn, so in Pallas, so that's good for communication. But I think the fact that it also sextiles the moon It is, man. Um, that definitely, and then the moon, sextiling Saturn. I think that this definitely sets one up for being able to speak their emotions, to speak the kind of dark emotions. Um, and yeah, kind of like it gives like this real like innate responsibility and ability, and trust and inner confidence in one's like mission. And yeah, so it's just like Scorpio moon vibes, just I think it would help a lot to have a career where you have a lot of freedom, where you have a lot of creative space, where you can kind of like, how I work, like I go with my own flow, I think that would be, the bathroom, but I don't know. Maybe I'll run over there. One sec. Be right back. All right. So, so yeah, just a really special chart. Um, it's not every day that you see this. And I think that like the whole idea of the collective, um, and just being in touch with those energies, because like one thing about Pluto also and having this kind of moon conjunct Pluto rules, it rules a generation. So it's like this whole Scorpio and Pluto generation that we're part of, you really have like a feel of the zeitgeist of the generation. And like it's kind of like a Jedi type, placement of having Moon, Black Moon Lilith, and Pluto all together in Scorpio, because like a lot of people live their lives so like unaware of kind of their lower side, their darker side, and so forth. But like, someone with a chart like that, they have to be an advanced soul. Esmond, trying to pour water. Like, there's no way you're not an advanced soul, because only advanced souls, right, who incarnate for big reasons would take on would be like, all right, I'm taking on all of this past life trauma. Let's do it. And I'm going to take a huge collective mission. So I think like putting yourself out there, and like I always say this to people, is that the world's changing. We're kind of in a period of like flipping pages, I guess you could call it. And I think a lot of stuff will make a lot more sense. But even like Jupiter in the 11th is very good for, usually very good for friends, very good for success. It's close to your midheaven too. So it's like, it's good for having like lots of opportunities in career and, having uh Venus there could be good for something like inheritance or like other people's money. So I don't know. I feel like you on your mission, you're definitely like when you're doing like what feels right inside your heart, I think that like the universe will support you on like the kind of more mundane, kind of finances and stuff like that. Because some people I see charts where I'm like, okay, these people are meant to really, really deal with money stuff in this life. Um, yeah, I don't know. But with Mars in Placis in the sixth, you always have to just, make sure that you have, you know, spirituality. Esmond, she's relentless. Spirituality kind of locked into your day to day, and to not overwork yourself because, yeah, it's just something that can happen. It's like promising too much. Um, I don't know. I just think that, yeah, where you work and kind of like the moves you make will be very, very well orchestrated because of the palace energy, and that there could definitely be some kind of feeling of, doing it for like what you're doing, like being done for a higher cause, a higher, you know a deeper reason. And yeah, you're a witch. You have all the markings, black mold on your moon and Scorpio moon. That's the witch Hecate on the midheaven. Like perhaps like, yeah, perhaps there's different phases of your life dharma wise, that, some people, they have like they are meant to like work. Esmond, stop. Now you're just getting too much. Stay right there. Stay, Esmond. Where they're meant to like work in like a corporate job for a while, and then um another phase where they're meant to like be some type of healer, some type of coach, some, whatever, practitioner. Um, but definitely like I see all of these potentials, and there's so much choice when you have like a double grand trine like this, like, but remember, it's always about that balance of Taurus and Scorpio. So checking on the emotional side, the energetic side, making sure that's all right. And then the physical. Once one foot in the metaphysical, one foot in the physical. One foot in the physical, one foot in the spiritual. Stop, Esmond. No, stop, Esmond. I already rejected. Go over there. Um, so yeah, that's just of utmost importance. And sometimes, when you have that Pluto moon, you have to go back into the past, and it's annoying. And it's just like, God damn it. Like, why do I have to like keep looking at this shit? But, any kind of energetic work, any kind of spiritual work that you do, no, Esmond, just go away, is very, very important. My throat was dying last night. So, yeah, I hope that you understand like how crazy it is to have Mercury retrograde in Taurus with Pallas in Taurus and Sun in Taurus, because it's like, it could be like this real like abstract, super, super creative mind. Doesn't always like, but like I think that you have both. I think that you have like the logical sense because you have Saturn, right? Making these nice aspects. So it definitely is someone who's able to like see like the really, really imaginative, and then even having Neptune trining your sun, that's like this amazing inspiration, imagination, someone who wants to like create like a dream reality, that like make their reality like um kind of connected to their dream reality. And like take from their, that's why like I think alone time and just like being able to like kind of dig deep into yourself in those moments of like reflection, introspection, like even like in nature, because like Taurus, like earth energy loves to be in nature, and the water energy loves to be by water, in water, baths, like swimming, stuff like that. So that's interesting. My stomach did not like that empty stomach German Coca-Cola. But yeah, like Jupiter Chiron, it just makes someone like a really, really advanced healer. And if there are wounds, they're likely around the family. Chiron, Cancer, I have that too, obviously, same year. So it can really be, there can be like a broken family or trauma related to the family, a whole bunch of accommodations. But with the series being there too, you're able to really teach others about how to heal themselves and how to be there for themselves emotionally. And I think that you've probably learned a ton in that respect. So props to you. And yeah, just so much devotion to the spiritual path. Vesta eighth, like it's a very like kind of head on, like let's do this type energy. And yeah, I think also with relationships, I was saying yesterday, like Vertex close to descendant, like yeah, very faded relationships, and um, they're meant to help you kind of like like there's a lot of meaning to them. Um, and yeah, like I said, there's trial and error and everything in life. But Juno, Juno and Scorpio together, it is kind of that soulmate energy that one would want in a partner, like that really two souls becoming one, but also like someone, like, not like becoming so intertwined where you lose yourself, because I see that with a lot of people these days where like when you're with someone else, you're in the composite chart, you're not like you're like my view is that the composite chart is the combined chart, right? So if you're always with someone, you're always in that combined chart, not necessarily in your natal chart. So it's important to still, sorry, my throat, still keep your independence, and have relationships that are very deep, or a relationship that's very, very deep, where that person is able to go there, go to those places, have those talks, feel those depths, but not like linger there so much, because life is meant to be fun also, and I just see, yeah, so much creative potential here. Water and earth, you know, um, the water nurtures the earth, and you're able to really, really build in the physical through the metaphysical work, you see? So it's really bringing those two together. And it's the divine feminine, these are the two feminine, fire and air is masculine, earth and water is feminine. So yeah. So I hope this helps clear things up. I said a lot in the reading yesterday, but yeah, like just I hope the part came through about the self-limiting beliefs, and also like having Venus trine your node, your south node, and sextile your north node. Like that's just another indicator of karmic relationships, being a big benefit for you and helping kind of move you to this higher place. And yeah, just the self-limiting beliefs that I always tell people with this square of Mercury in the nodes, to like write a piece of paper down and try to think of like, what are the beliefs I have that are limiting me from reaching my potential, and really kind of taking time to think like what, like in what way, like do I overthink things? Because sometimes Mercury retrograde people will overanalyze, and that's another thing with Virgo too, is that there can be like an over analysis of things. and just the need to blend into that Mars Pisces energy and part of Fortune Pisces. So Pisces is a very fortunate energy for you. And the best energy of Pisces is where you just trust and just go with the flow. Just flow, flow, flow. So yeah. All right. Well, hopefully no audio issues on this one. And I'll send it over. All right. Thank you. Ciao.